The thumbs up emoji is getting a thumbs down from Generation Z. The Zoomers have come out and said it's abrupt, rude, and even passive-aggressive. Other emojis Gen Z don't like seem to be the okay hand. I think it's that one. The heart and the smiling poop. Yep, that's what we talk about here on eNCA on a Wednesday morning. But many Gen Xers and millennials don't seem to agree. Here's a question. Do we really care? Well, let's find out what it means, though, for corporates, because unfortunately it has become a bit of an issue when it comes to using WhatsApp and WhatsApp business within the work environment. So media expert Tebogo Ditshego with us. We've dragged you in to talk about emojis. Very brave of you. Do you even care about the thumbs up or thumbs down?
I do, because it's important for us to teach, particularly people who are just entering the corporate world, what etiquette is required when they communicate on social media. And I think design thinking is going to work. So you have to start with empathy. You always have to think, how is the other person going to respond? And what is their interpretation of the particular emoji? And if you understand that, then you'll be able to communicate properly.
I suppose the problem is that the word interpretation, isn't it? I interpret the thumbs up emoji very differently to how, for example, you might interpret it. Tumzo and I were talking about it earlier. If I get a thumbs up from someone, it just means they've seen my message. Okay. But you might, for example, take offense to it because you may have asked me a question. So the problem's in the interpretation.
Absolutely. I think it's actually an understanding. So if you understand the other person, I think you would know what is wise to do. The only problem is that if I say, can you send me that report at 2 o'clock, and you just do this, it's as if you're saying take a hike. So you need to know what is the interpretation of the message.
But why is it not seen as, okay, no problem? You see, that's how immediately, but you were saying interpretation. That's how I interpret it. Gareth, please send me the email. Okay.
Now imagine if I respond to that question by going like this.
Okay, a breakdown in communication.
Yeah, so you need to know, how to communicate, how to sustain a conversation in the corporate world. Emojis are generally an expression of an emotion, generally. And you want to tone it down in the corporate space, be professional, acknowledge the person, greet the person, respond to any question that they have, and, respond to the message using words.
As someone who I know is very involved in media training and corporate media training, etc., could we see this going as far as teaching corporates a corporate culture when it comes to corporate communication? Generally, we'll have emails, we'll have various other forms like documents being handed around, etc. Could we see a point, and would you recommend, Tebogo, that WhatsApp as a platform or emojis are removed from corporate communication?
Well, I would recommend training generally in terms of how to communicate in the corporate space using WhatsApp, using emails, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. But there's also what is not recommended. So it could be appropriate to express your emotions, but it may not be recommended because at that time it may not be something that the other person is going to take very well. So you need training, but I would recommend that you do not use emojis in communicating in a corporate sense. But there are people who send an email, they'll put a smile at the end so that you understand the tone of the email. So it would depend on how it's going to be interpreted.
I know I'm probably playing devil's advocate here, and I'm digging a little bit too much into the minutiae. Again, I want to go back to the thumbs up emoji, or I think the okay. I think that's what the okay emoji is. I'm getting a bit too old for these emojis. How is that different to, we'll use your example of, you send me a message on WhatsApp, hi Gareth, please send me that email. If you just reply with the word okay, you've typed out okay, the letters, okay, or O-K-A-Y. I interpret that as passive-aggressive as just sending a thumbs up. Because that's the problem, isn't it? Do we need to start treating WhatsApp the way we would send emails, for example? You don't send one-word emails unless it's my boss yelling at me about something. Yeah, so okay and using the thumbs up emoji is probably the same thing. And you do not want to communicate with somebody like that in the corporate world. So you would want to write out a sentence. It's a bit more brief on WhatsApp. Email, you can go into a little bit of detail, but brief messages that you write out the sentence is recommended, but there is cultural dynamics and nuances. There's an emoji that does this. It's the prayer hand signal. We were having a debate about that. Is it praying hands? I think, what is it, this one? Is it praying hands or is it a high five? No, it's praying hands. That's what I thought as well. Someone said it's a high five. Yeah, it's almost like a bow. Okay. So it could be used, when you're doing this in an emoji, just to say thank you very much, and so on and so forth. Yeah. I find it interesting, and I don't mean to try and show my age here, but I find it very interesting that it's Generation Z, which seems to have a problem with this because, and I'm being very cliche here, but Gen Z these days are the ones who reply with the word K or lol or FML or whatever. They don't like long form messaging, and I find it interesting that Gen Z is the one coming out saying, no, we actually don't like this.
Because they know what it means.
They know what it means.
They know what it means when you send a message to somebody and you just reply with an emoji saying okay, and then or thumbs up. They know exactly what it means, so they would be offended because culturally it means something to Gen Z.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to change things up slightly. I know we've got our poll question, our viewer question. We actually had to ask this this morning. I know our teams are ready with it. Teams, let me know when we can bring up some of the comments. I want to read them while we've got Tebogo here as well. I think we've got them. Gen Z wanting to cancel the thumbs up emoji. Let's bring up some of the comments. We asked you on eNCA.com to go vote, also to tell us on Twitter and Facebook what you thought. Let me just see what we've got here. This is from at Anna. Anana001. It lacks substance, therefore thumbs down from me. Tebogo, and that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just, you've been to school, just use some words.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's see what else we have from at just Xavier B. Come on, Xavier, give me, there it is. I knew somebody was going to give me the thumbs up on Twitter. Just Xavier, appreciate it as well. We also got Facebook. Now let's see. No character limits on Facebook. This is from Tanya Galid. I hope I said that correctly. Since hearing this a while ago, I've started using it even more often. And I suppose that's the problem. Now people are going to go, Tanya, now you're just being passive aggressive. I mean, we can't put a rule in place saying we can't use these things.
No, you can't. But I think what we need to look at is, obviously, your intention may not have been to communicate something, but we judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions. You know, so we need to look beyond our intentions and see how is that intention going to be seen by somebody else. So I think a little bit of training and understanding, you know, in terms of what does it mean when you send such an emoji, it might, you know, demonstrate a lack of gratitude. And I think at the crux of professionalism is gratitude. Just demonstrate, you know, gratitude for that opportunity.
I think we might have one more comment. I cut us short a little bit on Facebook, team. I'm not sure if we can still bring up that last comment on Facebook just before I say goodbye to Tebogo for the moment. Let's see if we've got it. Here it is. In Kolaleko, thanks in Kolaleko, the soft generation crying about an emoji. We have more important things to focus on. No one cares. And let's have the last comment before I say goodbye to Tebogo and get a last thought. Cindy Goldstein, Gen Z is our youth. Ages between 12 and 25. Ages between 12 and 25. Thanks, Cindy. I actually didn't know what age Gen Z was. I have two of these specimens. Wow. Living under my roof. And this is the problem. We communicate differently as we get older or younger. And this is what I'm going to leave my last question on. Why should, and I mean this respectfully, us older generation pander to Gen Z just because they don't like something? Soon they're not going to like the crying emoji, and then they're not going to like the heart emoji. Why should we be pandering to the youth on a platform that is considered a youth platform, but all of us use it? Why must we just be bullied into cancel culture like this?
So I think it says a lot about the cancel culture. We shouldn't ban emojis because it offends me. You know, I think we should rather use them responsibly and understanding the other party. So I think our role was just to understand the cultural nuances that Gen Z comes with and communicate in terms of, you know, how they would deem it appropriate. So I don't think we should ban the emoji, but I think we should use it in a way that we understand, you know, what it means.
Okay, you know how I'm going to end this interview, right? You know how I'm going to end it.
Sharp.
Thanks, Tebogo. Tebogo Ditshego, media and public relations specialist from Ditshego Media, joining us this morning. I can't believe we're talking about emojis, but here we are because it's going viral and people are getting very upset and very offended by this. We'll have your 8 o'clock headlines coming up in just a moment.